The universe is listening, even in your silence. Introduction. You've probably come across countless books and videos about energy, vibration, good vibes, and the law of attraction. But let me be clear, this audiobook is not another echo in that noise. It won't feed you recycled mantras or feel-good slogans. This is a transmission, and if it found you, it's because something in you is ready to hear what comes next. You've been communicating with the universe your entire life, not through wishes, not through words, but through the invisible frequency you hold. In your emotions, your thoughts, your expectations, your silence. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're always broadcasting. And the universe? It's always listening. Many of the events that have shaped your life, the delays, the breakthroughs, the coincidences, the losses, didn't come out of nowhere. They were responses, mirrors, reflections of your dominant vibration, repeated enough times to become form. There are laws, unchanging, precise, perfect, that govern this vast cosmic network. Those who align with them don't get lucky. They become magnetic. They don't chase. They resonate. And life meets them with flow. But those who resist or ignore these laws often live in confusion, bumping into invisible walls, blaming fate, unaware that their frequency has been writing their story all along. If something led you here, curiosity, intuition, or a quiet sense that life should feel different, then this isn't just another audiobook. This is a turning point. What you're about to hear will shift how you see reality. Because the truth is simple but hidden in plain sight. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And the universe? It's already responding. The question is, are you ready to understand the language you've been speaking all this time without even knowing it? Chapter 1. Your attention is the wand. Everything in your life begins with where you place your attention, not your effort, not your words, not even your thoughts, unless those thoughts carry the weight of your focus. Because attention is more than just noticing something. It is the energy you give. It is the breath you feed into the fire. It is the divine yes that tells the universe, this matters to me, and the universe listens, not through ears, but through vibration. It listens to where your life force is going. What you water grows, what you ignore dissolves. Your reality is not built by chance. It is sculpted by repetition. And repetition is born from focus. You wake up each day with a blank canvas, and from the moment you open your eyes, your attention begins to paint. With every emotion you feel, every memory you revisit, every story you tell yourself, you are choosing which parts of reality to make real. You are choosing which frequency to amplify. And the universe, ever responsive, mirrors that choice. It doesn't ask if you're certain. It doesn't stop to ask if you're aware. It simply responds to the signal. You may say, I want peace. But if your attention is tangled in worry, the universe will reflect the vibration of fear, not the intention of peace. You may affirm that I deserve love, but if you dwell on loneliness, what echoes back to you is not what you asked for, but what you've chosen to energize. This is the sacred responsibility of being a creator. You don't manifest what you think. You manifest what you sustain. Every thought is like a seed, but attention is the water, and emotion is the sun. Left unchecked, even the weeds of doubt and fear will bloom, because they too were nourished. Your reality is not the sum of what you wish for. It is the sum of what you consistently attend to, and your attention is not passive. It is a declaration. It is a message that echoes through invisible realms and returns in the form of people, events, emotions, and outcomes. This truth can feel heavy at first, because it strips you of excuses, but it also liberates you, because it puts the brush back in your hand. You are not here to react to life. You are here to compose it, to choreograph it, to carve it from the invisible. So the real question is not what do I want, but rather what am I giving my energy to today? Where you place your focus is where you place your future. Do not be casual with your attention. Do not give it away to drama, to fear, to noise, to anything that drains the sacred. Reclaim it, guard it, direct it like a laser, like a prayer, and then watch. Watch how reality bends in quiet obedience, not because it serves you blindly, but because it is you reflected. You do not need to change the world outside. You need only to change the current that flows from within. And the current always follows the gaze. Speak to the universe not with your mouth, but with your attention. Let your focus become your spell. Let it become your yes. Let it become the reason reality says, so be it. You are not waiting for the world to notice you. The world is waiting for you to remember. You've been the one writing the script all along, and now you are aware of the pen. Chapter 2. The universe only speaks now. The mind is a traveler, restless and relentless. It wanders through memories and projections, lingering in what could have been or what might yet be. It builds futures out of fear, revisits past wounds like an old song on repeat. But the universe, the field that responds to your vibration, knows nothing of time. It is not bound by chronology, nor interested in your calendar. It exists only here, only now, and it listens only to the energy you carry in this exact breath. You were taught to wait for the right time, to wait until you're ready, until the world gives you permission, until the conditions are perfect. But while you're waiting, the universe is already responding, not to your plans, not to your intention, but to your frequency. You may say with all the conviction in your mind, I will be successful someday. But if your body trembles with doubt, if your heart feels like you're not enough yet, if your present is still echoing the vibration of unworthiness, then what the universe hears is not the future you hope for, but the lack you are embodying now. This is why so many desires seem to go unanswered, because what you want and what you are vibrating are not aligned, because your words say yes, but your emotions say not yet, because your mind projects someday, but your energy whispers, still waiting. The universe is not ignoring you. It is simply reflecting you, perfectly, always. Now. The future, as you imagine it, does not exist. It is a mental construct, a simulation played out in the mind. And the past? It is just memory held in the present body. The only thing that ever lives is this moment. And this moment is where creation happens. This moment is where miracles begin, not when the stars align, but when you do. You cannot create from the future. You cannot manifest from somewhere. You manifest from now on, from the energy you are radiating in this exact instant. That is the language the universe speaks. So when you say, I want peace, ask yourself, are you embodying it now? Are you breathing slowly or holding your breath, waiting for the chaos to pass? Are you clinging to the story that you'll be at peace only once the world calms down? Because peace is not a destination. It is a frequency. And you either meet it now or you keep pushing it into a horizon that never arrives. The same is true for love. You say you want it, but do you love yourself right now? Do you feel love pulsing through your being when you're alone? Or are you waiting for someone else to turn it on inside you? The universe does not wait. It does not delay. It moves in real time, instantaneously mirroring whatever you are emanating in this breath. You may think you're asking the universe to send you a new life, but what you're really doing is placing an order through your state of being. Your emotions are the ink. Your focus is the signature. And the delivery time? Immediate. Because reality is not responding to your dreams. It is responding to your vibration now. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to wake you up. The power is not in the future. It never has been. It is here, quietly humming beneath every choice you make. You are not a beggar at the door of the universe, hoping it grants you favor someday. You are a divine transmitter, sending signals constantly. And the field, the living, breathing universe, it is simply giving you a perfect return signal. So if you want to change what you're getting, stop changing your words. Start changing your state. Feel the outcome you desire as if it is already done, not as fantasy, not as pretense, but as embodiment. Do not say, I will be abundant. Say it with your breath. Say it with your spine tall. Say it with your heart open. Say it with your energy clean. Say it without speaking. Let your nervous system believe it. Let your cells respond. Let your entire being radiate the signal, I already am. Because in truth, you don't need to manifest it. You only need to tune to the version of you that already lives it. Everything already exists. Every potential timeline, every version of you. The abundance is you. The healthier you are, they loved you, the free you. They are not in the future. They exist now, on a different frequency, and your job is not to chase them. Your job is to match them. You do this not by striving, but by remembering. Remembering what it feels like to be whole, to be aligned, to be already there, and the more you practice that feeling, the more you strengthen that signal. The stronger the signal, the faster the reflection. This is not magic, this is coherence. This is the divine technology of the soul. So stop speaking in the future tense. Stop placing your joy on layaway. Stop deferring your power to a tomorrow that never comes. The doorway is now, it always has been. And you are standing in it, holding the key with every breath you take. The universe is not delaying. The question is, are you ready now to feel it, to live it, to become it? Because once you do, once your frequency sings loud enough, the world cannot help but join your melody. The outer rearranges itself to echo your inner, and what once felt like a distant dream simply becomes the next natural step. You don't need more time, you need more presence. You don't need a new plan, you need a new state. And when that state aligns with what you seek, you won't need to chase it anymore. You'll simply recognize it when it arrives, because it was never far. It was always one breath away. And now, you're finally listening. Chapter 3. Consciousness is the portal. There is a moment, quiet, soft, almost unnoticeable, when you stop asking why the world is the way it is and begin asking why you see it the way you do. That moment is the beginning of everything. It is the crack in the illusion. It is the invitation into depth. It is the knock on the door that only opens from the inside. Until that moment, you move through life asleep with your eyes open. Repeating, reacting, remembering what someone else told you was real. You think you're making choices, but you're simply playing out old scripts, inherited beliefs, cultural programming, emotional wounds that wear costumes and speak in your voice. You mistake thoughts for truth. You call fear wisdom. You call chaos normal. And all the while, the universe mirrors it perfectly, not because it agrees, but because it reflects. You see, the world you walk through is not objective. It is a projection. It is consciousness, painted on the canvas of perception, and your perception is the brush. Nothing you experience is happening to you. It is happening through you, through your meaning, through your interpretation, through the lens of who you believe yourself to be. If you believe life is a struggle, then every event confirms the battle. If you believe you're not worthy, then every glance becomes rejection. If you believe you're alone, then even in a room full of people you feel invisible. This is not punishment, this is feedback. And the moment you expand your consciousness, you begin to hear that feedback not as suffering, but as guidance. To awaken is not to escape reality. It is to realize you were the one shaping it all along. You've been taught to seek control, to manage circumstances, to fix what's outside. But true power comes not from rearranging the scenery. It comes from rising above the stage. The most radical change you can make is to shift your point of awareness, because when you do, the entire game changes. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you begin to ask, what part of me is choosing this experience? That one question opens the gates, because life is not linear. It is holographic, a field of infinite potential that you navigate not with your feet, but with your focus, your belief, your level of consciousness. The more you awaken, the more you see the patterns. You see how certain emotions have followed you for years, not because the world is cruel, but because your perception kept inviting the same lessons in new disguises. You begin to notice how your relationships echo your inner dialogue, how your financial world mirrors your self-worth. Every external breakdown was just your internal self asking for transformation. And suddenly, things begin to shift. Not because the world got easier, but because you got clearer. You see beyond blame. You rise beyond the victim narrative. You stop reacting. You begin responding. You realize, I can't control every wave, but I can become the kind of vessel that no longer capsizes. This is the mastery that comes with expanded consciousness, not controlled, but clarity, and from clarity comes peace, and from peace comes power. The kind of power that moves mountains quietly, without effort, without shouting. But expanding your consciousness isn't a weekend retreat. It's a lifelong unfolding, a peeling away of layers that were never truly you. The opinions, the wounds, the fears, the inherited rules that once governed your choices. They begin to fall away, and underneath them you find something astonishing. Stillness, spaciousness, presence. You don't need to chase higher consciousness. You only need to remove what is not it, because it's already there, beneath the noise. And when you begin to live from this place, life becomes fluid. People feel different around you. Opportunities move in closer. Challenges lose their sharpness, because you are no longer vibrating at the level of confusion. You are no longer arguing with reality. You are witnessing it, and choosing again and again from awareness. The power of expanded consciousness is not that you get to control the universe, it's that you finally realize you are one with it. And when you remember that, your desires become instructions, your thoughts become instruments, your life becomes art. So if you feel stuck, ask yourself, what is the lens through which I'm seeing this moment? What if the problem isn't the experience, but the meaning I gave it? What if the door isn't locked? You're just facing the wrong direction. Turn inward, turn higher, turn deeper. There's a new world behind your current perception, and it's waiting for your eyes to adjust. The universe does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be aware, to pause, to see, to choose again. And when you do, you stop chasing the light. You become it. Chapter 4. The Voice Without Words. There is a voice inside you that does not speak with words. It doesn't argue. It doesn't explain. It doesn't plead for attention. It simply knows. You've felt it before. In the stillness before a decision. In the quiet ache of this isn't right. In the pull towards something you couldn't justify but couldn't ignore either. That voice is your intuition. And it is the closest language the universe ever speaks. It is not your mind. Your mind is brilliant, yes, capable of logic, calculation, and strategy. But your mind is also conditioned, shaped by stories that were never yours, taught to please others before it honors your truth, built to survive, not always to thrive. But your intuition? It has no agenda. It doesn't care about what's safe or impressive. It cares only about what is true. It is the quiet, unwavering signal that pulses beneath every distraction. And the more you listen, the louder it becomes. You do not need to develop intuition. You were born with it. It is not a gift for the few. It is the native tongue of your soul. The problem is not that you lack it. The problem is you've been taught to doubt it. You were taught to listen to the voice that sounds like everyone else. The one that measures life in statistics and fears. The one that values logic over resonance. The one who demands evidence before they believe anything. But intuition does not wait for proof. It does not follow formulas. It flows from a deeper realm, one where everything is connected before it is understood. You might call it your gut, your higher self, divine guidance. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it has always been there. It is not separate from you. It is you without distortion. When you say, I knew it, I just didn't listen, you are not remembering a mistake. You are remembering your own clarity, a clarity that had no words, just a knowing. And here is the mystery. The universe speaks to you through that knowing, not through dramatic signs in the sky, but through small nudges, a strange calm when something should feel chaotic, a tension in your chest when everything looks fine on paper, a name that keeps reappearing in your life, a door that won't open, no matter how hard you push, an inner voice that says, not yet, when everyone else says go. The universe is not silent. It's just subtle. And the more present you become, the more fluent you are in its language. Intuition is your compass in a world that often tries to sell you a map. Maps are built from someone else's journey, but a compass, it's calibrated to your unique path, and your path may not look like anyone else's. It's not supposed to. That's why intuition is so vital. It allows you to walk in truth, even when it doesn't make sense to the world. But be careful. Not everything that feels intense is intuition. Sometimes fear wears its clothes. Sometimes ego imitates its voice. You must learn to listen beneath the noise. True intuition is quiet, clear, and consistent. It doesn't rush, it doesn't beg, it doesn't manipulate, it simply invites. You'll know it by how it makes you feel. Not anxious, but aligned. Not excited by ego, but expanded in spirit. When you follow it, things don't always become easier, but they become truer. And truth has its own kind of ease, a peace that defies logic, a feeling of, yes, this is mine. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to prove it. You just have to trust it. But trust is a muscle. It grows with practice. It strengthens through use. You begin with small steps. Say no when your body contracts. Say yes when something lights you up. Pause when everything screams for urgency. Move when your heart is ready, even if your mind still argues. And then, little by little, you begin to live not from reaction, but from resonance. You begin to make choices that feel like peace. You begin to meet people who match your frequency. You begin to flow with life, not against it. Not because the world changed, but because you changed the way you respond to its calls, and you realize intuition was never about predicting the future. It was about bringing you into alignment with your deepest now, because in that alignment, you don't need to control what happens. You only need to walk your path one step at a time with faith not in the outcome, but in your own inner knowing, and that is enough. So the next time you feel that whisper, the pull, the nudge, the quiet invitation, listen, even if it makes no sense, even if it scares you a little, even if you can't explain it, especially then, because that's when the universe is speaking through you, as you, and when you follow that voice, you are no longer seeking your path. You are walking it. Chapter 5. The subconscious writes the script. Beneath every word you speak, beneath every thought you think, there is another voice, silent, patient, powerful. It never stops listening. It never questions. It never sleeps. This voice is your subconscious. And while your conscious mind talks to the world, your subconscious talks to the universe. Every moment of your life, it is recording, it is absorbing, it is shaping your vibration. And that vibration becomes your experience. You may think you're choosing your reality with your conscious desires, but your subconscious beliefs, those quiet, hidden stories you repeat without even knowing, those are what the universe responds to. Because the subconscious is not logical. It doesn't care about what you want. It creates from what it knows. And what it knows is what you've told it, over and over, with feeling. This is the sacred paradox. You are not manifesting from the thoughts you think occasionally. You are manifesting from the thoughts you have rehearsed so many times. They've become part of your identity. Not the wish, but the repetition. Not the hope, but the emotional pattern. Not the intention, but the frequency. If you tell yourself every day that you're not enough, your subconscious will believe you, and it will organize your world accordingly. If you constantly replay memories of pain, betrayal, and lack, your subconscious assumes that's what you want more of, because you're feeding it with your attention and your emotions, and it responds with precision. It cannot reject information. It does not analyze. It simply receives, stores, and manifests. It is the soil, and your repetition is the seed. The question is, what are you planting? Every time you repeat a story about your limitations, you deepen the roots. Every time you dwell on who hurt you, you water the wound. Every time you say, "That's just how I am," you confirm a version of yourself that might have never been truly you. But here is the beauty, the grace, the power you may have forgotten. Your subconscious can be reprogrammed. It is not a prison, it is clay. And repetition is the hand that reshapes it. Not repetition from the mind alone, but repetition with emotion, with presence, with devotion. This is the true magic of affirmations, not the empty chanting of positive words, but the sacred art of feeling new truths until they become your embodied state. You cannot trick your subconscious. You must teach it, patiently, lovingly, persistently. You must speak to it, not in logic, but in energy. That is why feeling is the secret, because the subconscious doesn't respond to what sounds good. It responds to what feels real. If you want to be confident, you cannot just say, "I am confident." You must feel the warmth in your chest. You must walk as if you already believe it. You must breathe as if confidence is the most natural thing in the world. And at first it may feel false, it may feel awkward, because the old programming will resist. But if you stay with it, if you repeat it, if you feel it with your whole being, your subconscious will begin to absorb it. And once it does, the outside world will follow, not immediately, but inevitably. Because the universe follows the subconscious, like a shadow follows light, always close, always exact. The version of you you long to become, the one who is peaceful, powerful, free, already exists. But you cannot visit that version temporarily. You must live there. You must move in energetically. Claim it. Saturate your field with it. That means repeating the new story until it becomes more familiar than the old one ever was. And that is the work. That is the ritual. That is the daily practice of remembering who you really are. Speak to your subconscious as if you are reintroducing yourself. Speak to it kindly. Speak to it like a sacred child who only ever learned what it was taught. Say to it, "You are safe now. You are not your past. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to believe in something greater." And repeat it again and again and again, until it becomes your frequency, until it no longer feels like an affirmation, but like a home, because when your subconscious changes, everything does, not by force, but by resonance. You no longer need to chase love, or money, or peace. You become the kind of person those things are drawn to. You no longer need to convince the universe. You become the universe's clearest signal. This is not about pretending, it's about becoming. And you become what you teach your subconscious to believe. Through repetition, through presence, through love. So repeat your truth. Declare it. Feel it. Live it. And watch as the world you thought was rigid bends to meet the new you. You finally decided to believe in. Chapter 6. Becoming the frequency you seek. There is a current running through you, silent, invisible, yet more powerful than anything you could ever say or do. It flows beneath your thoughts. It hums beneath your words. It radiates in every space you enter. And even when you're not speaking, it speaks for you. This current is your frequency. It's not what you wish. It's not what you believe intellectually. It's what you hold consistently in your energy field. What you vibrate without trying. What are you when no one is watching? The universe is not attracted to your wants. It is drawn to your state, because attraction is not magic. It is alignment. It is resonance. You don't attract what you chase. You attract what you already match. This is why some people seem to magnetize abundance, ease, love without struggle. It's not because they are lucky. It's because they have become compatible with the frequency of what they seek. They are not reaching for the energy. They are living it. You cannot hold the vibration of lack and receive abundance. You cannot carry the frequency of fear and manifest freedom. You cannot harbor resentment and expect to receive love. The law is simple. You get back what you are. Not what you pretend to be, not what you momentarily feel, but what you consistently embody. This is the deeper work of manifestation, not scripting, not hoping, not demanding, but choosing. Choosing the emotion, the energy, the intention you wish to experience. and staying there. Not for a minute, not until it's uncomfortable, but until it becomes home, until joy doesn't feel like a stranger, until peace feels normal, until love is not something you wait for but something you generate. And yet, the world will give you every excuse to disconnect. It will tempt you to lower your frequency, to match the chaos, the noise, the fear around you. It will offer distractions that feel urgent, but pulls you away from the truth. That is why your frequency must become sacred. It must become your devotion, your altar, your offering to the world, because your vibration is not just your personal power, it is your service to the collective. When you elevate your state, you don't just shift your own life. You shift the field around you. You invite others to rise without saying a word. You become a lighthouse, not because you force anyone to change, but because your presence reminds them of what's possible. So how do you hold a higher frequency in a world built to distract and deplete? You return to your inner sanctuary. Again and again and again, you make space to breathe. You simplify. You unclutter your energy. You choose stillness over stimulation. You choose truth over performance. You choose presence over productivity. You move more slowly. You listen deeper. You rest not as weakness, but as alignment. You notice your triggers. You witness your reactions. And instead of being pulled by them, you pause. You ask, is this who I want to be? Is this the frequency I wish to reinforce? And then you choose again. It's not always dramatic. Often it's ordinary. Choosing gratitude instead of complaining. Choosing love instead of defensiveness. Choosing silence instead of proving your point. These are small acts, but they built a new energetic home, and that home becomes your magnet. There is no shortcut, no external hack, because frequency is not a trick. It is a way of being. So become intentional. Treat your inner world like a garden. Notice what you're growing. Notice what you're feeding. Notice what you're allowing to wither. Stop watering weeds just because they're familiar. Stop replaying stories just because they once felt true. You are allowed to outgrow who you've been. You are allowed to rise. Let your energy tell the story of who you are becoming. Let it speak louder than fear, louder than past patterns, louder than doubt. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest, aligned, present. Because the universe is not measuring your worth. It is simply responding to your signal. So if you want to change your life, don't wait for something external to shift. Change your frequency. Hold it, honor it, and trust that everything else will rearrange to meet you there. This is not fantasy. This is vibration. This is alignment. This is the sacred science of who you are. Not a magnet by force, but by coherence. Not a seeker, but a beacon. You are not meant to chase. You are meant to remember, to recalibrate, to rise. Not someday. Not when everything is fixed. Now. Because now is the only frequency the universe responds to. And now, you are ready to become the energy of everything you've ever asked for. Chapter 7. The universe is you. You have spent your life talking to something greater. You called it the universe. You called it God. You called it life, destiny, spirit, source. You whispered to it in prayer. You begged it in despair. You thanked it in awe. You asked it to help you, show you and guide you. But the whole time, you were speaking to yourself. Not the self made of habits and stories. Not the self shaped by wounds and names, but the eternal self, the one behind your breath, the one behind your heartbeat, the one that was never born and will never die. The universe is not something outside of you. It is what you are made of. It lives in your awareness. It moves through your emotions. It speaks in your stillness. To speak to the universe is to speak to the infinite part of you, the part that already knows, the part that is already seen, the part that has never been separate from anything. You don't need the perfect ritual. You don't need a special formula. You don't need to climb a mountain or sit beneath a sacred tree. You are already the altar. You are already the temple. You are already the place where the divine meets the human. You speak to the universe not with your lips, but with your intention, your vibration, your integrity. Every thought is a conversation. Every emotion is a request. Every belief is a command. You are not waiting for the universe to notice you. It has never looked away. It mirrors your state. It reflects your alignment. It responds to your resonance. When you feel peace, it brings you more of what sustains that peace. When you radiate love, it expands love around you in every form. When you hold fear, it echoes fear, not as punishment, but as precision, because the universe is perfect like that, not in morality, but in mirroring. It gives you more of what you are, not to reward you, not to shame you, but to awaken you, to help you see where you are speaking from, because when you remember that your words matter, your attention matters, your energy matters. You stop speaking carelessly. You begin to speak as a creator, as someone who understands that every thought plants a seed, that every belief becomes a blueprint, that every state of being ripples out and returns with form. And when you understand that, you no longer pray from desperation. You speak from wholeness, from reverence, from knowing that the divine isn't something you must reach, it is something you must reveal. You don't beg the universe. You align with it. You don't try to manipulate outcomes. You tune your frequency and allow life to flow from the highest version of yourself. You don't try to control people, timelines, or circumstances. You become so rooted in who you are, so aligned with your soul, that reality cannot help but reorganize itself around your truth. This is what it means to live in union, to walk as a living conversation with the universe, to recognize that every step, every breath, every moment, it is both a message and a response. There is no separation. There never was. When you see beauty in the world, it is because beauty lives in you. When you feel divine timing unfolding, it is because you've stepped into coherence. When you hear that whisper of intuition, it is the universe speaking your own name. And when something miraculous happens, you no longer say, "I can't believe it." You say, "Of course, I was aligned with this all along," because miracles are not accidents. They are the natural result of spiritual integrity, when you are who you were designed to be. The world around you reflects it back in symmetry. You don't need to chase signs. You become the sign. You become the answered prayer. You become the message. And when that happens, life no longer feels like a puzzle to solve. It becomes a song, a dance, a rhythm between you and the divine. You speak, it echoes, you breathe, it responds, and together you create something that feels like grace. You are not separate. You never were. You are the observer and the observed, the voice and the silence, the wave and the ocean. You are not a child of the universe. You are the universe, waking up to itself, remembering its power, reclaiming its voice. Speak clearly. Speak lovingly. Speak from the depth of your being, because you are not just talking to the universe anymore. You are finally listening to the one who has always been listening to you. Epilogue. You are the message. You've traveled far in this short space, not across distance but through layers of forgetting. Layers that once told you you were small, that your voice didn't matter, that your desires were echoes and not blueprints. Now you know the truth. Every breath you take is a vibration. Every thought you sustain is a signal. Every feeling you choose is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. You are no longer a seeker. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer whispering to a distant force in the sky. You are the source. You are the speaker and the listener, the request and the response, the signal and the reflection. The universe has never been outside of you. It has always lived in your attention, your presence, your willingness to feel and create with honesty. You asked how to speak to the universe, and the answer was never a word. It was a frequency, a posture of the soul, a return to coherence, a reminder that you were never disconnected. You don't need to manifest with force. You don't need to convince life to love you. You only need to match. What do you wish to receive? To carry it in your being, until it arrives not as a surprise but as a mirror. You are the one you've been trying to attract. You are the energy that shifts rooms. You are the miracle that changes timelines. So now, walk with reverence, not fear, reverence. Knowing that every step is a message, that your presence is a prayer, that your energy is your greatest offering. When you feel lost again, as all of us do, come back here, to stillness, to the truth, to the remembering. Come back to the breath, come back to your intention, come back to the quiet voice within. That always knew the way, and when you speak to the universe again, with your attention, with your joy, with your tears, with your courage to feel fully, know this: you are not asking for permission. You are giving permission to yourself, to your future, to the sacred life waiting to pour through you, like light through an open window. There is nothing more to wait for. There is only now. There is only the signal you carry. So carry it boldly. Carry it as a frequency the universe cannot ignore. Because now, you know who you are. You are not a question. You are the answer. You are not the one knocking. You are the open door. You are not hoping to be heard. You are the message, and the universe is listening.